You know, a movie. The Terminator 2 is an awesome movie, and it deserves a better game than this. Just saying.
You know, okay, I'm actually taking a college course called Composing for Video Games and Interactive Media. Fun fact, the projects involve making certain soundtracks. You know what those soundtracks involve? Making more than one repetitive tune. Like sometimes making so much as 12 tunes for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. Okay, yes, I get it. This is an old game, but even still, there are plenty of games on this console that weren't resorting to this.
No, allow me to not really. Tomita Rico using these consoles made a shit ton of awesome songs with it. So, I mean,
not just that.
Like heck, I think even Highlight may have had more too.
I was about to mention, Jova. Like Highlight was on the NES or Famicom, and it had like 2 or 3 tunes in total. This game has like the title screen and this.
There's a title screen, the primary theme that plays during levels, this theme that we're listening to right now, and the final level, which has a Terminator theme. Yeah, most people miss.
Sound the same.
Yeah, that's another interesting fact. Remember when most people usually say, "Oh, this is yet another one that doesn't have the Terminator theme." That's the thing. It does have a Terminator theme. However, it only shows up in the final level, which is why most people miss it.
Well, even the title screen also has call to the main Terminator theme a bit.
But it's not the actual theme itself, though. It's more like a rip-off sort of sounding thing.
It's more.
So congrats, game. You may have more tunes than Highlight. Here's the thing, though. In Highlight, you'd have a better chance of hearing those tunes. And Highlight is a game where you're listening to a rip-off of the Indiana Jones tune for the majority of your venture. Yet you still have a higher likelihood.
So I'm guessing, Jova. So I'm guessing, Jova, by your course standards, a game that would get an immediate F is the NES Ghostbusters game, because that game literally only has the Ghostbusters theme playing literally all the time.
Does it even sound good?
It does sound nice enough. It's just that it's literally the only song that's in the entire game, and it's always playing on a constant loop at every single point in the game. Literally, it never stops. So obviously, as you can tell,
at best that would get a D- then.
It's the problem is that honestly, I would still give it an F because. Yes, if the remix itself is decent, after you listen for like 2 hours, you just get fucking sick of it.
I guess an F in a similar category would be.
Oh my God! You're back to where you started.
That's
Hong Kong 97, because that has the 15 seconds loop of.
No, it's not even 15 seconds. It's like 6.
Oh God!
You see the problem. The problem with the compass on the top right corner is that it doesn't actually point to the direction that I should turn to next. It only points to the actual location that I'm supposed to go to. And since there's no map screen, I never know where the hell I'm going in these things. So basically,
I'm a Terminator, the shittiest driver.
Hey, game developers, here's an idea. Why not just have only the diagonal directions on the compass? Because, you can only move diagonally.
Dwibs, your country should never be allowed to make Terminator games again. Seriously.
Okay,
which studio made...
Bits.
Bits. No, the Terminator Salvation video game.
I don't remember.
Hey, you know what else came from a British company? Phoenix Games, the lot who give us those wonderful games on the PS2, which are more like rip-off movies.
I guess the best British developers were either extremely rare in the 90s, and only started that was accidental, I swear. And only really started to grow in prominence as being good later on.
Oh, okay. At least you've got Rocksteady. Or are they
Rocksteady, Rockstar.
I forget. Are Rocksteady British?
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
The Terminator Salvation game was made by Green Software, which was a Swedish company.
Huh. Speak of the devil.
Well, not British at least. So.
Swedish.
Still, the guys who made the Bionic Commando 2009 game. Oof.
Wait, I forget. Are the people who made the ever-loving, praised game Red Dead Redemption 2 British?
Rockstar?
Yeah.
Rockstar made Red Dead Redemption. Remember, it's
holy cow! I gotta say, Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting a hell of a lot of praise.
And now this video is dated. Congratulations, Jova.
Oh, Pedro. Pedro,
To be fair, well,
considering how Grand Theft Auto 5 is still selling, I'm pretty sure this will probably maintain.
Hey, Tio, on the subject of that Bionic Commando game you mentioned, hey, it's better than
Yes, sir. Better than what?
it's better than nothing, hey. Because remember, you know who was the producer on that game?
Ben Judd.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, regardless, it's not surprising.
He also produced that remake of that redo of the first game, I think.
Commander Rearm, but that was actually good.
It's not surprising, though, Jova, because remember, way before open world games were the norm, Rockstar was already making open world sandbox games before it was cool anyway, so obviously they're the ones who have the most experience in that particular field.
It's amazing how they may have actually managed to top their own praise with Grand Theft Auto 5, now with Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, no, of course. Rockstar is one of the top-tier AAA developers. That's, of course, something that everybody knows.
The only reason I haven't gotten Red Dead Redemption 2 is because it would murder the hardware space.
We finally made it.
Alright, so here we are in Miles Dyson's house. Objective, obtain Cyberdine's security key and destroy Dyson's research.
And I guess stop Sarah Connor from murdering Miles Dyson too?
Nope, Sarah Connor isn't even in this level.
Is it? What?
No. Both John and Sarah are not in this level.
Game, that was an obvious opportunity for adaptation there.
My guess is, Jova, they didn't really know how to translate them stopping Sarah into a gameplay mechanic, so they took a few liberties and decided to let's just have the Terminator go in here and try his best to stop Judgment Day from happening, and by destroying shit, basically.
I mean, okay, look, I get that you're restrained to, just one playable character, but heck, even Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure comes up with ideas like that by basically having you play as Simba from a different perspective while stuff was happening to other characters.
Oh yeah, so here's Miles Dyson. Let's talk to him. Alright, so Dyson reveals to you that the key is in the other bedroom, so let's go there.
Sweet.
And then turns out he's lying.
Say that in third person.
Well, remember, Jova, remember, Jova, the text that you're seeing is actually supposed to be the Terminator's HUD, the thing that the Terminator is seeing. So
that's what Arnold is always seeing whenever somebody says something to him. So does that mean that when the person said "F off a-hole," basically that's what it was telling him? Basically, his system was telling him this person has sworn you off.
Yeah.
Basically, Pedro, I can imagine now Dyson's lying and he leads you into a EMP room or something that kills you.
Apparently Dyson is keeping a full-fledged model of the T-800, just standing around there.
No idea.
And is that Sarah now shooting?
There you go, here it is.
Why don't you just sell it? You make a mint after that.
So yeah, we already got the key, so now let's just destroy Dyson's research. While also getting the future objects.
How did that not blow up the whole house?
I don't know. Anyway,
is that supposed to be the police shooting at us or something?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was Dyson's private security or something.
No, it isn't. Well, that was never in the movie. So.
Oh, well, I'm surprised he didn't do that. In the industry he works in, it could be dangerous.
There you go.
So...
You see, what this is one of those levels that really demonstrates why the future objects collect-a-thon shit was made in this game. Bits realized at the end of the development that the game was way too short, and that's why hence the arbitrary collect-a-thon stuff.
Reminds me, who's going to be covering Terminator Salvation?
I already said that I'm really curious if I manage to get a hold of it.
Oh, have fun, Tio.
It's a FPS or TPS. How
I think there were a couple of Terminator 3 games as well.
I'm only familiar with the ones that were made back in the 16-bit era.
I probably will have to see again Angry Joe's review of Salvation.
Oh, great! Another driving section, because I love these so much. Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
it's just... Go ahead, Liz.
There were a couple of... I think there was a couple of Terminator 3 games that we could do, maybe. There was one called Rise of the Machines, and another one called War of the Machines.
I'll check in a minute.
I'm guessing...
War of the Machines was on Windows, Rise of the Machines was on consoles.
I'm guessing the latter one is taking place during the future war, maybe? I don't know.
Rise of the Machines' plot is basically following the movie.
Makes sense.
Okay, can I say a thing I hate about these driving sections?
By all means, pick one! Go ahead.
Blindside. Like, okay, as you just saw, there can be some sections where you've got perfectly good open road, then all of a sudden, wham! An enemy comes to
Out of
be in
nowhere.
your path.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fair. Like, because, okay, you want to talk about realism? Well, realistically, the person who's driving should be able to see what's right in front of them. But as the player, we can't. That seems a little backwards.
It's just, again, keep in mind, every time I get hit, I get hurt. So obviously, this is the main reason why most people don't know that the Terminator theme is in here, because most people just rage quit before they get to the final level.
I will say this, folks. Normally, I don't condone the use of cheats, but this is a game where, for the sake of this commentary, to actually get to show you that there's another theme aside from this, I'm perfectly okay with it, because this game cheats, so why should we play fair?
It's the same argument that I've been using since I've cheated in that optional fight against Chaos in 13-2. If the game's not going to play fair, why the fuck should I?
Also,
Yeah,
Dreams, there was another Terminator 3 video game called Terminator 3 Redemption.
Oh.
What, the redemption of the franchise?
Anyway, let me
I have
explore.
no
Let me explain how
Yeah, I'll
Cyberdine
say
works.
later.
Basically, notice how aside from the status and rounds quantity we already had always, now we have a third one specifically for this level called damage. Basically, every time you blow anything up in this level, like literally anything, it can even be one of those pillars that I've just shot. It will cause damage to Cyberdine, increasing the damage meter. Basically, in order to properly get the good ending where Judgment Day is permanently stopped, you need to destroy. I think it's like 70% or something. I forgot the actual. What I usually do when I play this is I just destroy as much as I can.
I wonder, do you get something extra special? Do you get all the way to 100?
I've actually managed to get to 100 eventually.
Terminator in a bikini.
I did manage to get to 100 at one point, and it didn't change anything. It's mostly just a threshold between the good ending and the bad ending. The bad ending is basically the same. The only difference is that it says, but Judgment Day is still possible. Blah blah blah, whatever.
The
I guess
future
the main
refuses to
reason that they
change.
made it 70 was because they assumed that anyone coming here would be playing legit. So I guess 70 would be
It's
the
interesting.
merciful point to get the good ending, because you're probably losing your health with all this shooting going on. Not to mention, you have to protect both. Oh yeah, why is John here with us?
Remember, Jova,
I know. Okay. I know how the movie goes, but the way the game has been panning out, story-wise, bringing him is a bad idea.
Well,
Maybe
actually,
if the game
Jova, you
actually
can.
properly-
Well, Jova, if that is actually a good point, because you can just choose to order them to not follow you from the beginning of the level, just leave them outside where they're safe. And then,
Really?
and yes, you can, because at any point in the game, like I've established in the previous part, you can choose to tell them not to follow you anymore and just stay put.
But isn't it John Connor giving the order?
I guess the Terminator is now.
For the sake of gameplay webs, we're going to twist the rules a bit.
It really says something
really?
that this adaptation fails at the very lore. Like, don't get me
I don't
wrong.
know. I'm gonna have to give the game credit for this.
Okay.
It's that kind of thinking that gave us Terminator Salvation.
For the
Okay,
sake of the gameplay, I think this is fine, honestly.
Okay. I will
mean, it
say,
can
to be
be-
fair,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm kind of nitpicking that point. Although I will say this, though, I think a better game adaptation would have come up with a better idea. But you know what? To be fair, that's more so nitpicking.
I'm
So
guessing
here's-
Yeah.
more than an order is like the Terminator just saying stay put because you may get damaged or something.
So I guess my question is that why wouldn't any player want to do that by default then?
They can. Okay, let me explain. Basically, Jova, the moment you first meet Sarah and John in this game, an option in the pause menu becomes available right immediately, where you can choose to either John follow or Sarah follow. You can put yes or no. If it's yes, they'll follow you. If it's no, they'll just stay put where you left them.
That makes it an escort mission, doesn't it?
I've even explained this
Yes.
in a previous, like in the hospital level. It's recommended that you try to leave stuff. How about this, for example?
Be right back.
The best way to beat this level is to leave both Sarah and John outside where they're safe, and then just destroy everything. And then when you're done destroying as much as you can, and now you need to get into the vault so you can get the Terminator arm and chip. Go back outside and bring John with you.
Oh, let me guess, you need them for that?
Yeah, remember, like in the movie, John is the one who knows how to get into the vault, so basically we need him to do it for us.
So, okay, and what does Sarah provide?
Addition,
Extra firepower.
extra firepower. She's think of her as the Naughty Dog partner of this game, basically, except nowhere near as competent.
And not invulnerable.
No, she's not. That's another thing. Yeah, that's the primary reason why you shouldn't. That's one of the big problems of this game. The moment you meet these two, the entire thing becomes an escort mission. Fortunately, you can at the very least use the the follow or not follow mechanic to tell them to stay put at least. Because if not, this game would be flat out unbeatable. Well, it kind of already is because of the driving sections, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh god, the frame rate. Go ahead.
Oh my god, that frame. So let me guess though. If you tell them to stay put, it needs to be in a place that doesn't have enemies. Otherwise, they're sitting ducks for enemies.
Obviously, yeah.
Wow, I can only imagine. You tell them to stay put, and then they die off screen, thus booting you back to a game over, and you're left pondering why.
Well, I think the enemies prioritize being aggroed by you rather than John and Sarah.
True,
So at least-
they don't shoot at them, Teo. The problem is that any bullets that come towards me, and if the other characters are in front of me, they'll also get hit, you know?
No, but what I mean is that I'm guessing a situation like what Jova described, like you just leave them put, but you
Yeah.
run the risk of someone noticing them and shooting them while you're not there off screen. I don't think that can happen.
Maybe
Can
not. I never tried it myself, so I wouldn't know. But however,
know-
the big problem there is that anything that explodes in this game, as you can probably notice, everything in these levels can explode if you shoot it.
Oh, of
The
course.
the explosions will hurt them, so you have to be careful when you're trying to blow shit up.
Oh,
Black
snap.
tears on Regiment.
You know, it's kind of sad. The idea of a follow mechanic actually is kind of intuitive for a game of this age. Since from what I recall, not many games were doing this around the time.
No, not really.
Of course, the problem lies, of course, in the execution.
Again, it's just that this game is just very terribly made in general. Like, it's not fun. The game, like the one thing.
Wait. Now there are
Okay.
T800s active?
That's honestly, Jova, I cannot tell you what's happening here. Again, it's just it's like David Perry and his team were the only ones who seem to actually give a shit when making these games. It's sad.
I mean, I'm not saying that a game adaptation has to follow every letter to the rule, but there's a point where it becomes a little too confusing. All of a sudden having T800s, and you know, okay, even when certain game adaptations do sort of, fall off the trend, or when they veer off from the actual track, they at least give a good reason. A very good idea being the Spider-Man movie game adaptation, which veers off from the plot of the movie a lot, but at least gives you facilitating reasons for it.
It's for the sake of the.
It's more so Peter Parker trying to solve who Green Goblin is. So of course, that's why he goes to the Oscorp building.
It's for the-
instead of
sorry.
how the movie plays out.
It's for the sake of making the game not just 2 hours long, obviously.
And I don't know, guys, for some reason, the riff of this game makes it sound like what a gritty version of the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody theme tune would sound.
Huh.
Alright, so now what we do is, here's how it works. First, let me try to blow this goddamn thing up.
Also,
Oh my God.
gotta love how you're still quote unquote immobilizing.
Alright, so what you do is, you tell John to stop following you, and there you go. He'll start hacking the thing.
Wait. You attack
I give the orders around here.
Wait.
No, you don't.
Not quite. You're not the
There we go.
doing actor. Wait, so let me get this straight. You have to tell him to stop following you in order to get him to do that. That's a little cryptic.
It's a bit, yeah.
So that would mean that you would have to. Okay, so assuming you're playing this fair and you want to tell him to stay put somewhere, you would have to trail back,
I
find where you
think-
left him,
I
bring
thi-
him all the way here, and do all that.
I think the manual this level's description might tell you that that's how it works, maybe, but I haven't read the manual in years, so I don't know.
Also,
Did you play this
like I
game as
said,
a
gotta
kid?
love how the
Yeah,
big
I played
team-
it on the Mega Drive, yeah.
Oh, how was your experience? I wonder.
What do you?
Oh.
Well, take a wild guess, Jova.
You rage quit, didn't you?
I managed to get to this level fairly.
Wait! You managed to get to this level fairly? Wow!
That's because Jova, the driving controls in the Mega Drive version are way better. Trust me, if I had the Super Nintendo version, I would have rage quit at the first driving section. I assure you.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is it about
Yes,
this?
TM?
No, basically it's like Galileo, you still immobilize quote unquote the people that you shoot, but you're supposed to blow up the building. So technically you're leaving them on the ground and then blowing them up later.
Don't
Never
worry,
mind,
don't worry, don't worry.
How we shot
The
them.
building
Never mind.
be evacuated.
Don't worry, Teo. Orders were issued yesterday, and everybody was evacuated to the safe zone.
You see what I mean
Never
about
mind
this
that,
game
Theo.
adaptation kind of not making all the more sense? And again, it kind of gets a bit annoying.
Personally,
never mind that,
sorry.
guys.
Go ahead.
Never mind that, guys. Non-fatal wounds. You shot them like 20 times.
I'm sure he shot them in the non-vital areas, of course.
Personally, I prefer the one that my personal preferred way in terms of laughter is the way Batman v Superman does it. Why did you bring him here? The port is abandoned. Oh, the port is abandoned. Thank God. Oh, let's bring him here. This place is abandoned. There's nobody. It's okay. There's nobody here. They might as well turn to the screen, to the audience, and say, "Don't worry, everybody. We're not killing anyone."
Very happy now.
I mean, okay, look. Batman Arkham Knight is insane in how Batman somehow goes without killing anyone with rubber bullets from his Batmobile, which has
Java, it's not just a matter of him, but also the enemy. Like Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight will work so much easy in just having not drones but actual tanks with people inside them.
I guess the only the reason I'm more okay with it with Batman is because it's Batman. It's a series that kind of you expect to be this
Very
crazy. It's created
special.
so many tropes about
Yeah.
how crazy prepared villains can be. The lengths to which villains won their epic defeat of Batman. Batman being prepared for everything. Joker immunity. At this point, the Batman franchise has birthed so many inane things that I can understand it. And you know what? At the very least, Arkham Knight does kind of address how when you get down to it, Batman is obsessed with supposedly not killing
Where are all these
anybody.
guards coming from? Seriously.
Yeah. The difference with this is that this is Terminator. You know, Terminator can be brutal as all fudge when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And yet, a big point of Terminator 2 was John sort of doing his best to educate a T-800 on how to be a hero, more so as just be a killing machine. I mean, heck, that's part of why the thumbs up at the end is such a big theme. And I get it. Maybe I'm nitpicking about how a game adaptation ruins it, but I've seen game adaptations of this year that this was released do so much better, like Aladdin on the Sega Genesis, for instance.
Well, that's because. Well, remember. Well, yeah, of course, Joe. Remember, that's David Perry and his team, the same guys who made the Terminator Sega CD game. They were kind of the masters of lasting skins at the time, basically.
I guess the point is that I don't think I've ever seen a game adaptation that doesn't care as much as this game adaptation seems to.
Yeah, well, Jova, it's published by LJN. That by itself is your first warning.
Got it right, LJN.
You have 1 minute
God.
to get out of the building.
You know,
Don't worry, Teo. It may seem like it's not much, but it's actually not that bad because you can easily get out by taking the elevator and just wait a bit. Hold on.
Yeah, you know, oh
Should
my
we
god.
get the other?
I was critiquing this game so much that I forgot. Of course, it's LGN. Of course, there's so many issues.
Don't worry, John Connor. I only shot him in the leg.
JP also shot him in the heart.
And what about
that
the
was
explosion?
accident.
It doesn't. In 1 minute doesn't. Sorry. There you go. See, there you go. We're done too. As you can see.
Non-fatal casualties.
There you go. The game does give you more time than you need. As long as you're not sitting there picking your nose.
Non-fatally.
It's okay. It's okay, Dwibs. The place was evacuated.
2 seconds.
Yes.
I got a better excuse, guys. The explosions were all made of rubber. Oh, great! Now we've got an even bulkier vehicle to crash. Stuff
Well, remember that's how it was in the movie. They were running from the T-1000 in a truck. Remember?
Pedro, they were running away. They were bouncing around off of the cars on the side of the road.
Too bad the cars are not made of rubber. Like.
I don't know. That one bounced back a bit, but yeah, good point.
Jova.
Yes.
I remember this part very clearly in the movie where the van was bouncing off police cars and sides of the road like they were made out of rubber. What about you? Was the extra special edition?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it comes right after the part where the T-800 explicitly kills people despite John Connor begging him not to. I guess he just lies to John Connor about there being no casualties.
And what about
It's a
the
very,
others?
very special edition that actually tries to make the Terminator a much more deep and complex character. For you see,
what
he
about
truly
the,
does have the ability to disobey orders, and secretly, he knows deep down that it is wrong, but he has to do it for the sake of humanity. In fact, murdering plenty of people, which may or may not screw up the time stream even more. But he knows
And
he
what
has
about
that
that,
duty, because later down the road, he knows that he himself will become a T-1000, in which case the universe will be rebooted in what we call the Genesis Wave, not.
And what about that bit in the extra special edition where the humans took the initiative and remodeled their entire bodies so that they could survive explosions in buildings?
I think that's included in the same edition that explains why the TX from Terminator 3 has an ability to increase her bus size on Will.
Ugh.
Seriously, Terminator.
That's in the non-existent version.
Joe brought up a
Actually-
good. Sorry.
Actually, Dwibs, the sad thing is that she actually can increase her bus size, as we see in Terminator 3.
Yeah, we
Rise
can.
of the
Yeah, we,
Machines.
that was.
I meant. Well, yeah. Where was that?
That's the kind of joke
explanation?
Compile Heart would make. Seriously. Anyway, Joe brought up a good point. Actually, yeah. Even when it comes to bad licensing games at the time, there could still be some good attributes to them in general. Like for example, I've played licensed games back in the day that were generally technically bad games, yeah, but they still had like maybe good graphics and good renditions of the sound of the music and stuff
and
like that.
actually follow the story and lore.
Whereas this game, yeah, this is one of the most soullessly made licensed games ever, as far as I'm concerned, because not only are the graphics not very rudimentary and they seem to have just made on the cheap. The music is terrible. The gameplay is terrible. Like this game
And
in
the
general.
animation sucks.
Again, like it's like the people who made this game at Bits just didn't give a shit. This was fuck.
How many?
How many
cops are here? What are these cops all moths and you've got a lamp on you?
Are they bringing in the entire LAPD?
It's just okay. Again, I get the feeling for Bits, this was just something to get a paycheck. They did not give a fuck when making
Wouldn't
this.
surprise me if anyone's licensed by LJN.
We're making an LJN game. We don't. I guess this is an excuse not to try.
It's like I said, LJN is like the fusion of every single bad company we have presently, only worse because they could get away with more stuff.
Well,
Alright.
remember,
Internet wasn't a
LGM was basically a claim using a different lane.
I love how it says there, protect
Oh,
Sarah.
wait. LGN were Acclaim, the
Apparently.
Acclaim.
Yeah,
Oh,
apparently.
God.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So welcome to the final level of Terminator 2.
Oh my God, a different tune.
It's gonna become obvious. It's the Terminator theme. The Terminator theme is gonna kick in a moment. Just wait for it. Well, yeah, but obviously it's just like in the movie. You have to drop the T-1000 into the steel. However, fortunately, you don't have to deal with Sarah and John Connor in this level. They're basically just at the end of the level waiting for you. So, don't worry, they're fine. The problem here is that, of course, this is a level that would take 10 seconds to complete normally. But again, we have to locate six future objects. So explore, asshole.
There's the Terminator.
What even are these future objects doing? In
There you
this
go, everybody.
place?
The Terminator theme exists in this thing. It exists.
The same as the title screen.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it? It's been a while since we've heard the title scream.
I
It's-
remember because the AVGN mentioned it also when covering this game.
Well-
I remember he didn't pass to the first level.
Well, Theo, remember he played this version of the game, so can you blame him?
No, but that's what I mean. Even the Terminator theme, it's just
Never
recycled.
mind, there they are.
Sarah, you wanna come?
Don't worry, they're just there for the sake of helping us shoot the Terminator 2-1000 into the steel, but we don't want to do that yet because we need the future objects first. Again, this game would be so short if it wasn't for the future objects. Like, here's an idea. Okay, so the story of the movie doesn't give you enough stuff to fill it, like the game at the very least an hour. You know, like, okay, fine. Here's what you do: make the levels bigger, maybe, or have something more to do in the levels. You know. Like, instead, basically, all they did was slap this future object shit that has nothing to do with anything.
Also, I have to complain about the T-800 in this game. Hey, Skynet, you know how the T-800 in the first Terminator was lethal, ruthless. Even when he lost his guns, he chased after both Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor with every last of his strength, now all these T-800s can do is just stand and hold a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
My programming was compromised. I am now Statue Terminator.
Like heck, even the T-800 in Terminator Salvation did more. God forbid that CGI was terrible.
Well, apparently, Jova, the body was a real guy. They just CGI'd Arnie's head on.
Which is funny because the body was actually by a guy who's famous for being a body double for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, at least CGI Arnold in Genesis was that actually looked pretty good.
It looked better.
Oh yeah. I mean, by the time of Genesis, they had time to perfect those kinds of effects. It's just Salvation was made when CGI for human faces was kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
2000. Well, yeah, 2009. There wasn't just that. There was also that ghastly CGI Patrick Stewart in X-Men Origins.
What's with that hook?
It's just there to annoy me. Like, seriously.
The mighty T-800, hauled off by a hook.
The level designers were feeling really dickish that day.
I swear, this adaptation destroys any dignity it can get its hands on.
Yeah, both.
Sorry, Pedro. Exploration my ass. There were two objects, one near the other.
Well, Teo, what can I tell you?
That's just padding.
It's just, well, no shit. That's what I've been saying. This is the entire point of the future audience is to pad the game out so that it doesn't so that you don't complete it in 20 minutes.
Wait, hold on. Why are you leaving that T-800 down there?
Honestly, here's the thing, though. I would rather take a game that's short, but at the same time more tolerable, because all the future audience do is drag the game's quality down even further. I would have preferred the game being only 20 minutes long if it meant at the very least it would be less painful. But go ahead, too.
Pedro, it's like what Angry Joe said in his Thor: God of Thunder review. What do you think it's worse, 4 hours of garbage or 12 hours of garbage?
I wouldn't enjoy either, but I'll take less time.
You know, I'm just gonna say this right now. There are plenty of mini app games that show that a game that lasts like only 20 minutes, or a game that only lasts as long as you play it, can be more fun than a game supposedly stretched out to consoling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that they had a quota to fulfill back in the day, but there are so many ways they could have done this better.
Yeah. Again, it's the same kind of argument.
Oh, that's a conveyor belt.
Well, Teo, that's the thing, though. Teo, that's the primary argument that I always use when I explain why I think a certain movie is still not as bad as, say, Revenge of the Fallen, for example. Like, and a lot of times I use running time in the sense that, oh, but what about Twilight? Nah, Twilight is not as long. It's basically the usual thing. Would I rather be tortured for 2 hours or 2 hours and a half? I wouldn't enjoy either, but I'll take less time.
I guess part of the slight difference is, like, with a movie, you're just watching that, but with a game, you have to actively put more effort into that. I guess I can see why some people may look at those a bit differently. Not saying that I disagree completely, but it definitely plays a factor.
For me, it's the same.
Okay, Pedro, I gotta ask again. Why are you just leaving the T-800s there? Aren't you supposed to be destroying them?
Because it's not part of my objective, Jova.
Wait, I thought you said we had to get rid of the future items and aren't T-800s?
Yeah, and besides, you know,
Jova, get your logic out of here.
Hang on. Isn't the point of this mission to get rid of all traces of Skynet? If you're leaving them, then that's kind of going against the mission.
Anyway.
Wait.
Shut up.
So did the game all of a sudden just change its rules then? Because that's been the rule for each level. Destroy all the T-800s, but is that just not the case now?
Jova, do I look like I was in development of this game? I don't know.
Wait. So, why couldn't you do this the first time you reached them? Did you have to cycle around for that stupid chase scene or something?
No, Jova, remember, this particular possibility of throwing him into the steel does not happen until you collect all future objects. Even if you try to complete the level without it, it doesn't work.
Now he's a giant lava monster?
Yeah, apparently killing him was not enough. Now we have a second phase to his boss battle where he turns into a lava monster. This didn't happen in the movie. And okay, I get it. You want to pad this game out so that it's at the very least an hour long. Why? But honestly, by this point, it's enough. Why this? What's the point of this?
Here's my question.
I know this one, Jova. By tributing your own monster, I summon your field lava golem.
Yeah, here's the problem. How do bullets hurt lava?
Dwebs, you take this one.
Like, wouldn't now be a good time to bring in, I don't know, a freezing ray or something? I mean, sure, it would be nonsensical, but we're fighting a lava golem. Sense has left the building.
Yeah.
The D1000 has more power than I could afford. It has the ability to pad out video games.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This
And
is
now
kind
everything
of-
explodes.
And now
I'm pretty sure John and Sarah-
sacrifices himself, I guess.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure John and
And
Sarah...
a T-800 apparently travels in time?
Wait,
What?
But isn't the T-800 supposed to die heroically sacrificing himself to prevent
No, we're done.
Skynet from ever doing anything?
We skipped to
It's like-
we skipped we skipped to August 29th, 2097. 3 billion human lives saved.
Oh.
Thanos is not going to be happy about that.
There you go. That's the ending. Just poorly compressed
No
screenshots from the movie's ending.
The end.
The end.
4,505
Alright.
seconds.
So, sorry, Joe, but I'm still gonna have to give this game an F-.
By all means, do.
It's just, oh god, and that's basically it. They're just gonna repeat these images on a loop while the credits are going on. Fuck you,
Did I
Steve
say I would
Howard.
give it a D-. I was talking specifically about
Steve
the music.
Clark.
The game as a whole gets an F.
Fuck you, Steve Howard, Daniel Cotton, and Steve Clark. You should have done better. Graphic artists: Cropley.
Yeah.
Carl.
Probably
Okay.
Lawrence McDonald, Alex Martin. I guess you guys did.
Music
before
and sound
you
effects.
did.
Sound effects, Shahid Ahmed.
An Arabian guy. Okay, that's random.
Character
I don't wanna make a
animations were
joke
done
about
by
this.
Alan
Barton.
Barton. That's such a British name, Barton.
Playtesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One guy playtesting. Like game design. Well, you guys are all fired as far as I'm concerned. Oh, look, Steve Howard was also one of the game designers. Anyway, Fu Katan? Who the fuck? Jim
Plain
Fink.
white.
Jim Fink.
Ben
Hopefully didn't think for this one.
Gina Jackson. Tony
Special
Smith. Oh, this is special effects.
Eva,
Who
who
never
never
made the
made the
coffee.
coffee.
People who never made the call.
Okay. A Bits production.
Oh, yes, it's
Yes, because this is totally the game that you want to put your name on.
Let's see, how are Bits doing today? Oh wait, right, they're dead.
They're dead. Anyway, yeah,
Dave.
so that was Terminator 2, The Abomination of Mankind.
That's a very funny title for the movie, Pedro.
No, that's not. Don't do it. That's the title that I decided to nickname this game. Anyway, yeah, that was Terminator 2. Tyr, what do you think of the game?
It sucks. The music is non-existent for our petty DVDs. The gameplay is atrocious, and the story is butchered beyond belief. Just skip. And fuck LJN. Next.
Dwebs.
Meh. Oh, Dwebs.
Crap. There. Next.
Can you elaborate a bit more, please?
Sure. I would, if I had the ability to do so right now, I would just put the entire soundtrack of this game in a loop, and that would bring up my feeling. But that would, but I won't be able to. So I'll just say this. I'm pretty sure that you could do driving sections like that perfectly fine in other games before this point, even.
Yeah, there have been plenty of games. Yeah.
Also, I gotta say this: the adaptation of the story, weird. I mean, I'm pretty sure those security guards had those non-fatal injuries to the heart, chest, and stomach, and the 25 billion bullets shot into them.
Don't forget the explosion.
Yeah,
And the T-800 apparently going back to the future, apparently. Dun, 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 dun.
yeah.
You know, okay, that would be an awesome crossover.
Well, even if he did kill himself, remember Pedro still left behind them dodgy T-800s.
Not just that.
So basically, Pedro doomed us all.
I don't receive Twibs. The ending established that there's no fate, which means the future was saved.
You bring up a good point, Wibbs. You say that the adaptation of the story is weird. Allow me to remind you that you said a similar thing of Terminator 1 on the Genesis, which was also made by British developer Prof Software, and you said that the adaptation that the story was hilarious because they made it look like Kyle Reese died of a cold off screen or something. So this is now the second British-made Terminator game that adapts the story in a weird way. So I have to wonder, what was up with British developers in adapting these stories?
It's not just that. What happened to Sarah and John Connor? Was the T-800 secret plan to blow the place up and kill Sarah and John Connor and then teleport away?
I'm guessing they ran away while we were fighting the lava creature thing.
I'm pretty sure they managed to run away all the way at the top of a building.
Oh God!
I doubt it. So basically, in this game's continuity, in the continuity of these games, Carl Reese died of a cold. Sarah and John were blown up. The T-800 is a coward. And there's a few bunch of rogue T-800s that are left behind thanks to a lazy Portuguese video gamer.
Wait, LJN are Portuguese?
No. We don't develop games, Jova.
Pedro went back in time and created LJN.
At best, you'll have an indie game, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Terminator 4, laughing, joking, num-nums.
All right, Jova, go ahead.
Folks, it's an LJN product. Trust me, you'll be seeing plenty more of them on our channel if only to term a new one, but this is a good example of why we hate LJN. It is one of the worst game adaptations I've seen, and trust me, that's saying a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, game adaptations are never really... Okay, game adaptations are not known for their consistency of being the best, even in this day and age. But man, this game... Okay, before I even talk about the gameplay itself, the thing is this, the adaptation itself sucks, and yet it could have been so much easier to do. Like, again, the first Terminator game at least went out of its way to establish that good guys you gunned down weren't actually dead. But here, as far as you're concerned, they're dead. Not only that, the story itself, even though it's adapting it sometimes, completely flips on its end to have these weird things that aren't even well explained. Like, if you're going to have changes in the game adaptation, then explain them in some way, shape, or form, unless it's a game that doesn't require explanations like, say, Aladdin or Lion King. But then again, those were Aladdin and Lion King, the games, done by people who had a better idea of what they were doing than these people here. The gameplay itself is terrible. Like, you will die easily in the driving sections, and while you may not die as easily in the gunning sections, for the parts where you have to play escort mission, you may fail at those. Now, thankfully, you don't always have to, but then there are the cases with still the wonky junk hit detection, and then not even knowing for sure whether or not your AI partner may get hit or whatnot, thanks to that.
So get the Mega Drive version for better driving controls, but that's about it.
Yeah, the bosses suck. The music is so limited.
And Jova, now imagine if we were doing the Mega Drive version, because imagine that with even worse instrumentation.
Let's see. So worse instrumentation for better driving controls.
It's okay because I can just mute the TV while I'm playing the Mega Drive version. So
something is really wrong when a game. Okay, look. I get the game soundtracks can be limited, but holy cow, they did not have to be that limited for the Genesis and SNES.
Not really, no.
At best, you can maybe get away with that in the NES era, but no, this was well beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And while, maybe the graphic artists were trying their best to blend designs, this game does not look pleasant.
If this is them trying their best, I fear to see what would be them being lazy.
I think we'll see more of that in some other games. But yeah, this game it has a trademark LJN sense of awful in every department. Avoid this one like the plague unless you're a video games enthusiast and want to play this to say, I beat this without cheats or whatnot. In which case, I will pat you on the head and give you a cookie.
Yeah,
internet cookie.
My reaction. Congratulations, you've wasted a bajillion of time out of your time when you could have been doing something better.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play Spider-Man.
Anyway, yeah. The game is rat garbage. It really is. Like, okay, the best way to go about it, I guess, is to go for the Mega Drive version, because that version does have much better driving controls that will allow you to actually, get through them at least. However, the main reason I recorded a Super Nintendo version for this version is because that way it would be a much funnier playthrough as a result.
I mean, the SNES version is the more infamous one anyway. I mean, sure, the Sega Genesis version is better, but at that
not by much though. Yeah.
Even then, it's still bad. It's just less memorable.
Yeah, the levels are still just as bad in the Mega Drive version. It's only the driving sections that are better. And even then, that's at the cost of worse graphics and worse music. So, not to mention, here's an interesting thing. You know how the text in the Super Nintendo version is red to accommodate for the red look of the Terminator visor? In the Mega Drive version, the text is yellow.
Oh God, yellow! That's a terrible color. That tends to blend badly.
I don't get it either. But anyway, yeah, get the Mega Drive version if you really want to try it out. Don't bother with the Super Nintendo unless you're gonna do it like me and use Game Genie. Don't even bother playing this version because you will just die before you can even get through it, because the driving sections are complete pain because of the horrible controls. The controls are barely functional. Barely. Like, seriously. Like, but anyway, yeah, the music is garbage. The graphics are very rudimentary. I mean, I'm not saying they're like the most horrible thing I've ever seen in a 16-bit game, but they look so bland and devoid of any kind of personality. Like, it's just a completely plain-looking game. It's such a terrible, an incredibly, even by licensed game standards, this is unacceptable. Because licensed games are for the most part under subpar, but this even by those standards, this completely fails the mark. It's just so. It's not fun to play. Even when you play the Mega Drive version, the game is just not fun at all. It's boring, and that's when it's not being frustrating, because the game is so badly designed and full of terrible decisions. So basically, yeah, avoid this one like the plague. Play the Sega CD game made by the Perry and his team. That's the good one.
So Pedro, is there any good game adaptation of Terminator 2? The better movie of the two?
No, not as far as I'm aware. Again, sadly, Jova, Virgin never got the rights for David and his team to make a Terminator 2 game. Sadly,
ain't that a blip? The better Terminator movie, and that's not to knock the first one. It's just Terminator 2 is widely agreed to be better than Terminator 1. The better Terminator movie does not get a good adaptation game-wise.
Well, the Sega CD one was a Virgin one.
But wasn't that based off of the first Terminator movie?
Sorry.
Wouldn't it have been so cool if we could have had an awesome Terminator game at the sound of Tommy Tallarico's guitar? That would have been so awesome. But alas. Anyway, everybody, that was it. So tune in for whatever Terminator game we do. Maybe we'll do that one that Teo is planning on doing, or maybe we'll do one of the Terminator free games. We'll see how things go.
Or maybe we'll do another LJN project.
Groody. All right, see you everybody. See ya.
In the words of the immortal Orphan Jim, Pedro?
Ungroovy. See ya.
See ya.